guys, how are we today? Happy Friday. Um, Firstly, I just want to say thank you so much for everyone who got involved in last week's LinkedIn Live. I was super scared, and watching it back, I could tell that I waffled a lot. So that's something to learn and take note of from my perspective. But yeah, thank you ever so much to everyone who supports and encourages, has sent me loads of messages throughout the week, and to all your questions. I hope you guys got a lot from last week, but I've come a little bit more prepared because I didn't really know how Restream would put the video out. I guess that's how I need to frame it. But yeah, apparently there's a very big lag. So if you can start putting in your questions in the chat, I think it's on this side, I hope it is. And then if you would like a portfolio review or any kind of review, please just click or scan. I say click, I'm not sure if you can click it, but scan that link so that you and I can get some one-to-one time together, and let's get your portfolios like A1. So it's focused in on those tier one companies. But so today, how I'm going to frame it, hopefully some of you are going to come in with some questions. Please put a QU or an emoji in front of your question so that I know it's there. Because last week, I don't know if you noticed, there were quite a lot of comments and I just couldn't keep a track of everything. And even my colleague was like, Hayley, do you realize that there were a lot of questions coming in and you were trying to wrap it up and I didn't see them? So if I don't come back to your messages right now today, I promise you that I will come back to you over the course of the next day, and hopefully it will answer your questions. However, this week, or since last week, we've had quite a lot of developments. There were loads of you who were inquiring about portfolio reviews in general, but wanting to work with me, hence why I put that up there. And loads of people signed up to the A Platinum subscription. So I just want to, I'll spend 2 seconds talking about this. I'm not going to harp on, but basically it will cover, it's a subscription with me. You have my undivided attention and we will go through your CV, LinkedIn, portfolio, job search, and then how to market yourself. It's basically the A to Z of how to get yourself out there, but also learn some of the skills that our team have been trained on throughout the years. I've got 27 years experience in architectural and design recruitment, and it's about just giving you guys as much information as possible so that you can make decisions for yourself. I think from my perspective, the frustration and why I'm doing these LinkedIn Lives again is that I don't know if any of you saw it, but in January, I posted a video about a conversation I had with one of our clients saying, geez, I'm waiting on 47 people to come back with an updated portfolio. We need to start speeding up how many people are coming in and how many people are actually ready for their search. So yeah, I muddled my words there, but I'm hoping that you understand what I'm talking about. People need to be more prepared for their job searches right from the word go. And I'm really pleased that quite a few of you have picked up in the past week that, oh yeah, I hear what she's saying. And so I had a lot of people this week saying, right, I want to get ahead of the job searching game. I'm not quite ready, but can you have a look at my portfolio, or can we do a subscription? La, la, la. So hence why I've put this here. And those guys have actually, or some of them, should I say, have sent in some questions for me to go through today? Because there's such a lag in your questions, and I'm hoping that I will see on my side when you post. So I'm going to put up some of the questions from the coaching sessions this week, and then I just had someone pay for a platinum subscription. If you have any questions, please just put them in the chat. What I want is for us to like put a community together that we can exchange ideas, you get to learn, but also let's make this as free flowing as possible. So yeah, I mean, please have a discussion in the chat as well. But one of the platinum subscribers this week said, I would love to work for Foster and Partners as a goal. I don't know if I'm being too ambitious. You tell me. And this was, I put this in first because someone last week did actually say, I want to work for Foster and Partners. And I was like, yes, so do we all. But I didn't feel like I answered it as best as I can. So seeing as it came up in a coaching session this week, I thought I would give you a little bit more information so that you can go away with that and have a think about where you want to go, what you want to do. So the candidate that I had a coaching session with this week, his portfolio is very good. And what I took away from the session was, yes, he's questioning himself. Is he like shooting for the moon and it's too far? And everything about his mannerisms, how he came across, how he presented his portfolio, some of his work, there's glimmers, 100 billion, 10%. But there were certain qualities that he was exuding, just like who he is. I knew and know that he's going to be someone to watch in the future. So I said to him, do you know that some of the Foster and Partners guys can use about, I don't know, 15 to 20 software programs super easy? It's like it's their hobby, I guess, outside of work. You know, they really, and this is where they really dedicate time to learning outside of their day-to-day job. I do get it. Some of you work ridiculous hours, and so do I. You know, if you're working those hours, do you think that directors aren't calling me at silly o'clock saying, Hayley, this is what we need, this is our vision, these are the people that you need to start finding for us? Of course they do. If they're doing it to you, they're doing it to me. So it's one of the same. But what I loved about this guy is he was just like, oh no, I've already done the research into what I need to learn, what I need to do. I just don't know that I can quite get there. I need that guidance. I need a bit of insight. And so that's what I'm working with him, working on with him to help him to, like stand out and learn those qualities that will get him noticed. I think, you know, everyone thinks it's recruitment and hiring is just a tick box exercise. And unfortunately, certainly from my perspective, job seekers do turn it into a tick box exercise because they want feedback, because they want insights, and because they want to understand a little bit more. Certainly from a recruitment's perspective, we end up putting together rejection emails with every single quality that particular job entailed. You know, that it's the software, the project experience, and then expertise in general, just to try and keep it as broad as possible, but just so that you guys can give or get some sort of insight into why you've been rejected and what you need to work on. It's not a case of, you know, we're not going through 800 people going, no, oh, don't like his profile picture. No, it's got nothing to do with that. we need to see that you have certain attributes. And certainly if we look at companies like Foster & Partners, UN Studio, OMA, Zaha, I don't know, Henning Larsen, MVRDV, if we look at all of these kind of like practices as a whole, the types of people that they employ know such a plethora of software, for instance, just as one element, but also they have this ongoing learning process that they don't need to use the word passion in their CV or portfolio, because they don't need to. It's there for everyone to see in the body of their CV, in their portfolio, because of their ongoing learnings that they go through. So, okay, I hope that gives you a bit more insight into that question. I'm just going to go into the chat. I've got like, I've got two different chats going on here. Finally, I'm listening. Thank you. Hi, Yves. Lovely to see you in here. Did I pronounce your name right? I'm not sure if I did. Sorry if I didn't. Kunwa, lovely to see you again. Hi, Hayley. As an architect now working on hospitality interiors and mostly branded F&B projects, how should I position my portfolio and CV if I want to move? Actually, sorry, let me just put this up on the screen so that you can see it. I'm so sorry, guys. How should I position my portfolio and CV if I want to move into luxury hospitality studios like HBA? Right, okay, got you. I know some of those company names. I've recruited for them before. So, right, my issue with this chat, by the way, need to give you a little bit of insight, because for any of you that are going to post any more questions, I kind of need a bit of background. I'm in Restream here. I'm not in LinkedIn, so I can't see everything that you see. It's only when I go back to questions afterwards and click on somebody's profile, Ray, hello, that I get a bit more insight into your profile and where you're coming from. So if you can give me like what you're currently doing at this moment in time, what's your job title, years experience, the projects that you're working on. Yes, I've got some branded F&B projects here, but I just need a bit more insight. However, what I am interpreting here is that you're looking to go from or into consultancy side. Is that right? I hope so. If not, I'm going to answer your question now. And then, Kunwa, could you just put a comment underneath the comment that you've just posted? And I will come back to it afterwards. So certainly from the consultancy side, I haven't actually done a lot with Rockwell Group here. And I've not actually heard of Avro KO before. Are they new? But yes, I know Bishop Design, LW Design, and of course I know HPA. So from my perspective, what they are looking for is to understand the journey. Like, what's your experience? What's your overall, when you're given a brief and a project, what is your role? Also, by the way, you haven't told me what you're an architect, okay? Don't know what kind of architect. So I'm assuming it's on the architectural design. If it's technical, we've got two different options here. So let me try and answer both in a roundabout way, and then I will answer this back on the chat after the LinkedIn Live. So from an architectural perspective, on the design side, what we need to understand is the brief. What was the initial brief from the client? What are they looking to achieve? What is the overall look and feel of the project? And I had a look at like figures on how many people go into some of these commercial spaces, also residential projects, and one of the biggest projects that's ever been designed and built known to man. So I did the two extremes, figured out a few in between. But did you know, like over a 10-year period, between 600 and 800 people will frequent a residential property, which are quite a lot. it's got to take an emotional connection to buy that house or off-plan building from the outset. And then that space influences how people feel in that space. Then if we look at the extreme, so there was the most visited project is called the Forbidden City in China. And in a 10-year period, 160 to 180 million people frequent the Forbidden City. So the reason I'm saying this is that we all experience architecture and interior design through an emotive or emotional kind of viewpoint. Not that we're all aware of it, but you kind of need to take your portfolio down that journey of how do I, first off, if we're going down the design route, and then we'll talk about the technical again. So if we're looking at the design side, you need to first off put together the design brief, but then articulate both visually and in words what your involvement was. So take the hiring manager on a journey. We want to know everything. I mean, from my perspective, I want to be in that briefing room with you. What were you told? What's the vision? How are you going to put this across? Where do you get your inspiration from? There's so many routes that you can take this down. And I think that's what portfolios are very much missing these days. It's that journey. You've got to understand who your audience is. And they're not employing you. So a load of people last week sent me their portfolios, and I'm not going to go through each and every one of them today, but what they were doing was saying, oh yeah, have a look at my portfolio. I've taken all your information and advice on board. But when I went through their portfolios, they're very much geared to the end user, not the hiring manager. So they look like a brochure. I don't know what my your view is of what the hiring managers are looking at, but you need to stay focused on what you do on a day-to-day basis, and then articulate that through visuals and in text, and literally take the hiring manager on a journey through your portfolio. I could go off on a tangent so on the technical side, I will give you that briefly. Again, it's very similar. It's literally the brief, what stages you are working on, and tell the story from the technical elements. So you're talking about after concept design, so detailed design, technical design, construction drawings, and literally walk the hiring manager through the stages that you've worked on and articulate your involvement. And that's what we're looking for. It's just honesty at the end of the day. I think from my perspective, and certainly some of the feedback that I get from hiring managers, is that they'll go, hey, I don't know that this guy's actually done this. And they also, if that journey isn't there, if it's not a cohesive story, alarm bells go off for them. They're like, did this guy or girl or whoever actually do this? Or is this somebody else's work? So you just need to be as open and honest as you can and tell the story. But yeah, these tier one companies, certainly they do have a look and feel, and we'll get into that in the next coming weeks or months. Ray, sweet dreams. Great to have you here. I didn't read your message earlier. Lovely to have you here, and I will catch up with you. For everyone who's on viewing right now, I've got some exciting news. That I've gone out to a lot of people this week to say, hey, I'm getting myself out there and doing these LinkedIn Lives. What I would love to do is get as many different perspectives and get guests on board so that you can ask your questions and you can see how the architectural industry is working as a whole. Certainly from my perspective, I would love more than anything to get Ray involved. He's going to be involved anyway, with his perspective is more from the corporate side. So making sure that architectural practices are more profitable, that keeps us all in work, but also it's just, he's a ray of sunshine. Oh, Ray. So it would just be lovely, I think, for everyone to have a different kind of perspective. And then I was asking some of the hiring managers that I've actually recruited from, and I had some amazing responses. I had like, hell no, never ask me again. Absolutely not. What? Who do you think I am? To other people who are like, yeah, I'm not completely comfortable with it, but yes, I will get involved. So yeah, please keep your questions coming. And also, if you would like to get involved, please just send me a message. And even if it's like to review your portfolio from whatever perspective, let's get you on. But sorry, I'm just going to read through some of these messages. I just need to hello. Again, I'm really sorry, but these messages come through a bit sporadically, and I don't know how many messages are coming through. Right. Okay, Ali, I think this is a question. If you could put QU or an emoji or something, that would be awesome. Before your question, just so that I can pick you out. Can I keep it flexible, like mentioning a project management experience which could align with any roles? Because many times any project I would be in combines design sometimes and planning sometimes and supervision sometimes. Okay, look, Ali, firstly, I can't see your job title. So, or your portfolio, not portfolio, your profile on LinkedIn. So I'm slightly blind here. If you can give me a bit more insight, that would be awesome. But when it comes to any portfolio of any kind, there's a job role. How do I phrase this? So an architect doesn't wholly work on one element. Sometimes they do, it's rare. I mean, we do get positions for concept design architects and like at director level. And the ridiculousness is that sometimes those clients do want those people to solely have specialized in concept design throughout their career. It's very rare to get those people, and that's why I'm employed to find these individuals. But a portfolio should just be an open and honest kind of window into what your experience is and your involvement. I think where the confusion comes from is trying to be too blinkered. Yes, I do understand. Without kind of doing a one-to-one with you and understanding a bit more detail, it's quite difficult to answer that in its entirety so that it's relevant to you. But fundamentally, your portfolio should be there to demonstrate. CV's there to tell the story. Your portfolio is there to demonstrate your expertise. So, it's all well and good. Oh, I work on this and I do that. When you demonstrate it, when you demonstrate your experience, the hiring manager is literally visualizing you sat at that desk in that role. So what we're trying to achieve by your portfolio, and this is why I think the design industry is very, very lucky, because if I was doing finance recruitment, for example, I can imagine that some of those CVs look very, very, very similar, and you're more recruiting for the company name. Whereas now, certainly in architecture and design, it really has opened up. I don't know if I brought this up last week, but I get people from all sorts of incredible companies come through. So UN, Foster's, OMA, Henning Larsen, MVRDV, Zaha, Kind of think of like Gensler, Killer. I mean, I could keep going on and on and on and on and on and on. Think of all the most amazing companies that everyone aspires to working for. Now, I had someone at the beginning of this year who worked for OMA, and when I sent or had a look at his portfolio, should I say, he was like, "Hayley, can you just get this across?" And I was like, "No, I think you need to update this first, because your portfolio doesn't actually tell me anything about what your involvement has been on the front end design side. And this role is for the front end design side." He went back and updated his portfolio, but so slightly, you couldn't really tell that it's been updated. And I said, "Look, I'm not sure that we should actually send your CV and portfolio, because it's not demonstrating your front end design work." He was like, "No, it'll be absolutely fine. Just send it over." I went against my gut and intuition and my 27 years of experience. I sent his CV and portfolio, and the client came straight back and said, "Nah, he's not told us his story. It's not the kind of individual that we want for this role." It was a high-level role. It was an associate director role. Like, you need to take these things seriously. So your portfolio holds so much weight when it comes to the selection process. Once that hiring manager can see you, like visualize you sat in their office and producing this work, they get inspired. And it's more of a, like, there's an emotional kind of exchange of, yeah, this guy or this girl or whoever understands the same, they understand how to put a project together in the same process as I do. And it's like, you're talking the same language. No matter whether you're from Italy or, so I'm only saying Italy because I'm in Italy at the moment, but from whatever country you're in, if you're speaking the same language in a design manner, then you're more likely to get asked for interview. I've had a few things come in now. Right. I am going to flick back to the platinum subscribers shortly. Kunwa, right, okay. I'm going to have to come back to your question afterwards. I'm so sorry. I'll move on to Suhail. Hopefully I'll pronounce your name right. How do hiring managers usually view candidates who have changed jobs several times within a short period, such as less than a year? Honestly, not great. Certainly from my perspective as a recruitment consultant, I'm contracted as an outside contractor or consultant to find individuals to enhance a company. And certainly when it comes to a hiring manager's perspective, the likelihood that they're going to employ someone, certainly through someone like me who charges for that, is very much dramatically reduced. And you can understand why, because they're paying us to find someone who fits the bill, who is going to provide longevity. The hiring process in itself is so unbelievably costly. Like, it takes a minimum of 6 months for an individual to get to understand how a business operates, how it works as software, how they work. And then if they're moving countries, for example, you've then got to take into account the building regulations and the working environment. The working environment changes dramatically. So from Europe to the Middle East, it's far more multicultural, and some people just don't work with that or don't gel with that well. So what they're looking to do is reduce that, how do we say, risk. That's the best way to put it across. So it is not great. Certainly, I don't know how many years experience you have, but yeah, is not great. And I have to say, from my perspective, from a recruitment consultancy perspective, unless we've got like immediately available roles, the likelihood is that they are going to choose someone who can show and demonstrate longevity to minimize the risk, minimize the costs, because the outlay at the front end is so large. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you. Oh, good afternoon. Hi, Ronan. Good afternoon. Hope you're well today. I am very well. It's Friday. As a student soon to graduate, what would you suggest we should focus on in our portfolios for employment? Literally what you enjoy. I actually had a candidate this week, or coaching session this week, with one of my platinum subscribers. 5 years experience in total, but he's just about to complete his master's. I say just about. He's got more experience than 5 years. He puts 5 years on his CV and portfolio. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. He actually started to come alive when we started to talk about his graduation project, what he was doing at university. He was like, I don't think I'm going to include it in my portfolio. It's like, why? Your whole face, everything about you has just literally started to light up. You're talking about your masters. It's clearly something and that you want to pursue and a direction that you want to go down. Why isn't it in your portfolio? And how can we get it in there? So what I would like you to do, Ronan, is really think about where you want to go in your career, how you want it to look, feel, what kind of company you're going to work for. You know, whether it's like you land that job or not, like have these aspirations and goals so that you can start putting in a plan for not just this year, but next year, following year, the year after that, and however long it takes. What you'll start to do is when you're researching, you can start to work this back, but you really do need to kind of embrace where you are at the moment. You're in the best like environment to be like learning and putting everything in. What you need to do is, sorry, I've got a lot of emails that have just gone ping, ping, ping. I might need to take my watch off. What you need to do is, again, go through the life cycle of the project or your thesis and give as much insight into where you want to go in your career, but also as much insight as possible that the hiring manager can understand how you think. It's all about how you think up here and how you articulate that. So I hope I've answered that. As long as hiring managers understand where you're at, that's all you need to know. I always say, like nearly all of my colleagues that I used to work with years ago will say exactly the same thing. If it's not in your CV, it never happened. If it's not in your CV, it never happened. And the same goes for your portfolio. If you don't give the reader an insight into what your involvement is, what your experience is, how are they ever supposed to know? They're just going to assume that you've never done it before. So give the full story about the thesis that you put together and from different perspectives and different stages of the project. Also have a think about where you want to go in your career and how to direct it in that manner. I hope that helps. So Farnas, hiya. Ali, just in, oh, right, okay. Yes, I will skim it, Ali. Yeah, I'll come back to that later. Thank you. So Paul, Oh, that's really sweet of you. Thanks, Paul. Hi, Hayley. Hi, thank you so much for taking the time and doing these live shows. They are so very helpful. Sending greetings from Guatemala. I'm relocating to Minnesota, so all your insight is helping with my journey. I'm really pleased. That's exactly why I'm doing these. Like I said at the beginning, at the beginning of the year, in natural fact, only like a couple of weeks ago, we had 800 people apply to one of our vacancies, and it's less than 1% that are actually prepared for the application process. When I'm going through CVs and portfolios, yeah, sometimes the CVs do give the information, but then I go into the portfolio and none of that exists. So it's like I sit there waiting for people, give the advice, as much advice as we can. But if we can skip all of that with these LinkedIn Lives and get the information out there to as many people in the industry as possible, that would be amazing. I would love nothing more to go through my application list of all the suitable people and go, yeah, great portfolio, because even for me, you know, I'll see a great name on a CV. I was just about to say portfolio there, and yeah, I'll see a great name on a CV. I'll go into the portfolio having an expectation of what I'm going to see, and it doesn't hit the mark. It's not there, so it's really frustrating from my perspective, and I'm sure that's why I've still got a recruitment. I'm in a job because the hiring managers see exactly what I'm seeing. You know, if they can avoid recruitment costs at the end of the day, they will, which is totally understandable. They're running a business. But that's why we're involved, because they can't find those people on their own. So it's time that we get the information out there into the likes of the architects and designers who are ready to commit to their job search and make that decision to go ahead and, you know, uplift their CVs and portfolios so that they stand out, so that we get to find them. And honestly, it's so easy to do, so easy. I think everyone on LinkedIn, certainly from my perspective, from what I read, oh, it's so difficult, oh, it's this, oh, HR is stopping me, the recruiters are stopping me. No, it's got nothing to do with that. It's to do with the information that you provide in your CV and portfolio. So I hope that gives you a bit of a window of insight. Right. Hang on, I think I've got messages that are doubling up here. I'm so sorry. Okay, this is a really, really long question that is actually, I'm going to have to read it off of here. So, John, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your question today. With over 25 years of experience, I have qualifications, both M.Arch and MB.Arch in architectural management and design. Thank you for the background. I really appreciate it. Combining architectural design and business-focused project thinking. There is a back and forth between AI and myself. Okay, for my position in the market, AI creates roles that align with property development management. Secondly, it's suggested that I shorten my portfolio to selected projects only. Okay, therefore my question is, in summary, is market position, as I'm still a designer and still believe in the power of hand. Oh, I love this. Of hand sketches, but not tech averse. But I have somewhat of a hybrid CV, design and business of the AEC, which leads to how my portfolio gets pitched. Okay, right. There's quite a lot of things in there. So let's tackle the AI bit first. I did actually do let me just have a drink of water quick. I did a poll on this week, and the question was, do you think AI is helping you in your job search? And I honestly believe that it takes, unless you know how to work it and unless you question it or really understand what you're trying to achieve, what you're looking for, and what direction you want to go in, it can really take you on a roundabout journey, you know, around the houses in and completely throw you off track. I think that's how I kind of surmise it, is when I've been working with the platinum subscribers or people that do the portfolio review, and especially at your level, the last two guys that I coached last week, the week before, it was 35, 38 years experience, not 35, 25 and 28 years experience. They had exactly a similar kind of questioning to you, which was really interesting, actually. So what we did was sit down and think about where they actually want to work, what they really want to do, and not try to be something to everyone. I certainly from my perspective, and hiring, the hiring kind of funnel can get really confusing if the candidate doesn't have a direction and clear goal and clear planning where they want to go. So especially when you're at your level, it can, your portfolio and CV can read like, I do this, I do that, I do it. And of course you do. You do everything. I do everything. I'm a director. But I could start taking people down the route of, well, I do content creation. I work on my website. It's got nothing to do with the actual role that I'm being employed to do, if that makes sense. So what I would do if I were you is kind of figure out, and I do quite like saying this, by the way, get your notepad out. And especially as you're someone who still loves the freehand sketching, let me pull that in as well, because I've been employed to find board director level people who still sketch as well. And I think the reason why we get these roles is because they're so difficult to find. They do exist, and it's not a dying trend. People aren't all saying, yeah, let's get rid of the freehand sketches. It's still very much a requirement when it comes to board directors. And so what I would do in your portfolio is really enhance and again, still take the reader through that journey of what you're working on. I love nothing more. Maybe this is because my dad was an architect, I don't know. But I would love nothing more than, actually, let me pull the story in. My dad would sit me down and go, right, hey, we're going to design our next home. How would you like your bedroom, bathroom to look, feel? And he would start sketching away. So I'm sure you do this with your clients, John, of when you're in a meeting, you start sketching out those thoughts of how it should look and feel. And then they'll maybe give you another tidbit of information. Right, okay. So you start sketching away again. So again, it's that emotional connection with the company that's going to employ you. They want to understand how you're going to operate in those meetings, how you think, because I'm sure you've recruited teams and staff, etc. Is it the same qualities that you look for? We need to see that in your CV and portfolio, the understanding of what you have. I think for me, when it gets to your level, yes, it's a great high level overview of your expertise. But then once you get into your portfolio, that's where the emotional connection is made between the level of what you're doing, so i.e. what you've been talking about in your CV, but then going into your portfolio, we get a window of insight into what it's like to be John Langenhoven. How does he think? Can he fit in here? And what elements of those expertise can we utilize in the company? So I hope that helps. If you've got any other insights or if I haven't answered your question, please put in some more notes underneath your comment and I'll come back to you later. Right, so I've been told that I can't go for an hour and a half today. So we've got 15 minutes left. Please, again, put in your questions in the comments. LinkedIn user, thank you so much for providing such a wonderful live session. Although from InfraWise, but still a lot to learn. Bravo. I'm not sure what you mean by infra, but amazing, I think. Hopefully you're getting some sort of inspiration where to take your CV and portfolio. Okay, so next LinkedIn user. Hi, Hayley. Question. Companies expect loyal employees to reduce risk and save costs, but candidates also know how disposable they can be in those same companies. Someone can stay. Right. Okay. Sorry, John. I've just seen your comment. Can they stay? How disposable they can be in the same company? Someone can stay loyal for years and still be let go without hesitation because of that. Hang on. I feel like there's two sides to this. Because of that, many people prioritize protecting themselves by leaving environments that no longer align with them mentally, emotionally, or financially. At the same time, companies often label these candidates as job hoppers. And I think we're having two conversations here. Job hoppers for me is somebody that moves like 3, 6, 9 months repetitively. There is just a trend there. And then, right, how I see this, yes, there's companies out there that aren't great. And also, if you find yourself in this situation more than once in a quick succession, there's a trend that you maybe need to be honest with yourself about. Why are you going to these companies that are doing exactly the same things 2, if not more times in a row? Yes, you definitely need to protect yourself. But yeah, I think generally people just need to be more open and honest about what positions they're putting themselves in. You know, I'm a I'm a product of this too. You know, I'm not perfect. I put myself in situations again and again, and then have a moment of, oh, hang on a minute, I'm seeing a repetitive pattern here. What's a common denominator? And it's me. So I really think that people need to be not so much externalizing and putting the blame on a company, etc., etc. You kind of need to bring it back home and say, right, I'm going to be honest with myself. What was my involvement? Why did I put myself back in that same scenario again? How can I recognize and what kind of safeguards can I put in place to prevent that from happening again? You know, it's not all about the other company. You do need to have a look at, take responsibility and take ownership for your part to play in that as well. So, John, I read half of this while I was answering. The selected projects from AI. The selected projects from AI. Not sure. I might have to come back to you on that. Okay, I am actually gonna have to read through that properly. I'm sorry. Right, there's just a few more questions that I have that other people have sent through that sorry, John, I will come back to you, I promise. So, and this is similar. So I got some questions on LinkedIn, but this is from one of our subscribers who came in saying, I've just completed my master's. He's awesome, by the way. If anyone's looking for a design architect, let me know. He's got 5 years experience. He's awesome. Just completed my master's where I gained experience working on the front end of a project. He really enjoyed it as well. I'm currently working on the technical side, which I'm planning to leave out of my portfolio. What do you think? Please don't leave it out of your portfolio. In fairness, him and I have had a coaching session about this. I would not like anyone to have a gap in their portfolio. It doesn't serve you, and it just doesn't serve you well. Fundamentally, how you frame it is that if you work on the front end of a project, quite a lot of the clients that we work with want to understand that you've also been working on the latter stages. Because if you understand the latter stages and the issues that can happen or arise at the latter stages, you can prevent them from happening at the beginning stages. So I think it's really important to include all the work that you've been doing. Maybe don't make it like, if your whole portfolio is all about the technical design and it's got nothing to do with the front end design, then you've got an issue, and that's what we're working on, I have to say. So what I would advise is don't leave out any projects at all. What I would advise is that you have to kind of don't go on and on and on and on if technical architecture isn't the way forward. However, it still plays a part in the overall experience that you have, but also the insights you have, and you can prevent issues from happening further on down the line with projects. So please don't ever think that it's bad to have it in there. You know, you have to give the overall honest view of what you've been working on, and be honest what you want in the future. And this guy certainly does have that. It's just about tweaking it slightly. Maybe don't go so much in depth into, or don't go for 8 pages about technical design if you want to be working on the front end design, so the concept pre-concept stages. So we're working on that with him. I'm going to see what he comes back to me with. Okay. Oh, right. Yeah. So this was one of our reviews this week. I'm so lost sending out what I think I should be. Hang on. I'm so lost. I'm sending out what I think I should be doing. I think that's supposed to say, but no one is responding. Okay. So yes, there's a massive thing at the moment. I've seen recruiters even on their LinkedIn Lives and posts who are actually looking for work right now. And there's a tendency to think that if you are sending out loads of applications, and if you don't hear back, that it's done. I think the job searching market is very much changing. It's evolving. It always is. Hence why, again, I'm doing these, because you guys need to be aware of how it's evolving and just how much. But I've said it, actually, I've said a couple of times on this LinkedIn Live today, I've got now today nearly 1,000 applicants on a senior design architect role. What you need to cut through is you need to stand out with your portfolio mainly, and make sure that you tell the whole story. I think what I see in those 800, 900 candidates, and I haven't gone through every single one, our database helps us out with that. But because I'm doing these LinkedIn Lives, I did actually go through quite a sizable chunk of portfolios, and they all look the same. They're all primarily 3D rendered visualizations. They're applying for a senior design architect role. The job description clearly states that we need front-end design skills, and I'm not seeing any of that in most of the portfolios. It's literally just more of a brochure that an employer could use, not for a candidate looking for a job. So if you feel like you're in the same predicament as a client of mine here, start being really honest about your portfolio and what it contains. Is it showing the entirety of your experience? Is the experience that you're showing relevant to the job role that you're applying to? And then develop your story, your storyline, and storytelling experience through that. I hope that helps. I'll just flick back to the chat quick. Okay. Okay, I'm going to have to come back to some of those, John. But so the last question that I've got, we've got 4 minutes left. So if you've got any other questions, please put them in the chat and I will come back to you. I know my portfolio is the issue. Please review and give me your honest feedback because I don't understand what I'm not showing. Oh, I think I've just answered this actually. You really need to sit back, get away from the computer, get away from your phone. And what I would like most of you to do is get out your, pen, paper, and really start having those honest and open questions with yourself fundamentally. What do I do on a day-to-day basis? How can I mean, what does your manager see, for example? Your manager, your director, your clients, what do they see? How do you make that emotional connection with them? And how do they go, oh my God, yes, that's amazing. Ronan, John, everyone who's on the chat now, like, what do they look for? How do they go, oh, yes, that's a brilliant idea. We'll move forward with that. Those are the kind of like windows of insight that we need in your portfolio. We need to understand what you do on a day-to-day basis. And I don't know, from my perspective, maybe you guys can start like giving me some feedback on this because I don't understand why you find it so difficult at times. Like for me, I think I could write your portfolios for you. Maybe that's because I'm just so enthusiastic. I'm not sure. But I genuinely think that I could sit there and go, right, this stage, then it's that stage, and just keep going and then talk about it. Like your passion comes through in how you articulate and visually articulate also the role that you do on a daily basis. That's how you get your clients to make decisions. That's how you get your manager to go, oh yeah, that's absolutely gold. Brilliant. We're going to go with that. So where are those insights in your portfolio? That's what I want to see more of. I want to be in those briefing rooms. Maybe I should be. Right. Okay. So I'm going to have to start wrapping this up, I think. Michael, lovely to see you here. Please keep commenting. Hang on, let me just make sure that. Okay, I'm going to have to wrap this up. But thank you so much for being here today. We're going to keep these going, by the way. So if you think that I haven't answered your question or you'd like to know more about a different stage of the job search, we can do different LinkedIn Lives here. I'm certainly going to look at options of maybe doing the Portfolio Masterclass every week and then bringing in other people to do a second LinkedIn Live. I don't know how you feel about that. Could you please let me know what your view is? Is one enough a week or should we do more? And what topic should we talk about? I don't know. This is kind of, so far, this is guided by what I see in the recruitment process, what I see in the applications. And I really think that this is what you need help on. But, give me some feedback either in the comments or please just send me a direct message. However you want to communicate with me, I'm really open to where these LinkedIn Lives go. So anyway, Alexa, stop. She was just going to give me a positive reinforcement on the hour. We'll stop her from doing that. That's too much information. But thank you so much for all your questions today. And please keep the questions coming. Keep the thoughts coming. Let's build a community here and help each other out when it comes to the application process. Please, if you would like a review, you've got the link here. And I can't wait to see you next week. Have the most amazing weekend. And it's been a good one. Thanks, Linkies. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.